We are now diving in mid-series here. Game number 2.
Man, this is honestly a bit of a shame, if I'm being honest, like, because Peppy is joining us, but unfortunately he will be on his own stream. Would be very nice to, get his, just get him in. Get some,
Yeah.
get some perspective there.
Exactly. Big fans of Peppy. Big fans of Peppy here. Again, he's been on this channel before, casting alongside me. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Already qualified too, so definitely looking forward to him next season. Now, I'll have to confirm the score with you once our intros are finished up here as we load into Lightshade LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, swinging all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the red Protoss player coming out from the land of somewhere in the north, right? Around that area of Straya. He is going to be representing clan All Inspiration. He is the coolest manager of them all. He is Ice.
Sydney, but sure, yeah. God damn.
Sydney is north of Melbourne, right? It's north of Tasmania, so...
Yeah, sure. Spotting in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the Australian Terran. He is green, representing himself and the old clan 1F Pro. It is Aconsises.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about it earlier on, where a lot of the 1F Pro boys were coming out of woodwork today. But Acon, especially, I mean, he qualified last season for ANZ Champs, despite being a bit of an underdog. Definitely a favorite to qualify once again here.
Yeah, as he's already up in this series. But what I will say is that we can't count Ice out because this madman beat Frustration in the upper bracket. To be fair, that was the PvP, right? So a lot can happen in a PvP. Again, Ice is a very aggressive player. He's a very cheesy player. And we can see some of that coming out here with, going for a gas steal of all things.
All right, so we're getting Ice into the CranKy Ducklings.
Confirmed, mate. Oh god, you go for a gas steal, you are automatically a duckling, and we'll see where Ice wants to take this. Acon, I don't know how familiar he is with Ice. I don't know what happened in game 1 either. I don't know if you caught a glimpse of it while watching the stream.
Yes.
That's good to hear.
Actually coming out, yeah. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's reassuring. Yeah, 2-1 actually going to be the answer here for Aconsises. Sises.
Aconsises? I think that was the other one that we weren't sure if that was his name or not.
Yeah. Acon. As Ice decides to go for a Stargate opening instead of a Twilight Council here, so should be seeing some Phoenixes coming out. Will be... I'm curious to see what Acon does with his 2-on-1. Because if it's, a standard 2-on-1 with the Medivacs coming out and with a drop, then Phoenix is going to be really effective. But if it's more of a 2-on-1 where he gets tanks out first, there we go! Tanks first. Then I guess Phoenixes can still be effective if they lift up the tanks, but...
Yeah. That they can be. Like, this isn't a bad opener by any means by Ice, but we'll also see, because I'm not even convinced if he's going to even make Phoenixes.
Really?
We'll see. He's starting off with an Oracle. We'll see if he commits to the Oracle production or if he starts at Phoenix. I would hope he does go into Phoenixes with that. There we go. With that, of course, he can slow this push down, but it's all about control. It's all about army positioning, right?
It very much is. And that's something that Phoenixes are very good at, just messing up, honestly. But yeah, we'll see a bit of an earlier eBay coming out for Acon. Turrets are definitely going to help later down the line, but what's doubly going to help if he decides to go for it is +1. Marine tank push very early on can be devastating for Protoss, but not pulling any SCVs, he already loses 6 of them.
Yeah, like as you were talking, I was so surprised that
I
the amount of damage that was being done.
I kept talking because I was like, oh yeah, Akon, he's gonna pull the SCVs. Not too much damage will be done. And then and then a 4th SCV died, and then a 5th SCV died, and then a 6th SCV died. And I was like, yo, the Marines are coming in now, but
he did not respect the Oracle at all. He's like, you know what? Do whatever you want, mate. You're not going to stop me because Akon, he's pushing out. He's got 2 tanks. He's got a massive amount of Marines. He's even pulling a couple of boys because why the hell not? Because he can throw down some bunkers. He can get ready with some repairs. He does get spotted by the Oracle.
Just unable to catch that Oracle, but it is out of energy. Still, the Oracle being alive as it gets more energy down. Never want to underestimate the Pulsar Beam. That can be the difference between barely holding and not holding at all.
It really can. The Phoenixes, they're ready here. They're ready to pick up those tanks, I imagine. But is there enough on the ground? Is there enough to deal with all these Marines? Bearing in mind that Stim is available for them.
No, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. Oof. But there's still plenty of Marines regardless. Not focusing down the Phoenixes started lifting the tanks, focusing more on the charges, understandably. But in the end, the Phoenixes will run out of lift here.
Yeah.
Now the sword charges to worry about.
Exactly, and now a 3rd tank comes into play, and something else that's a little bit surprising is, again, there weren't any additional shield batteries here to help support this army. Again, he's only relying on his gateway units. He's even pulling a couple of boys.
Where are the SCVs? Surprised they're not building bunkers. There they are! Can get some repairs down, can try to build some... Oh, friendly fire going on there on that tank, but it still lives, and it will be able to get a couple of volleys off. This is now a safe enough space for Akon to get a couple of bunkers up. He can always retreat to them if need be, and he's slowly moving his way forward into this natural base, but... Okay, ISIS starting to lose a lot of probes, so it is starting to get good for Akon. I was like, not a lot of economic damage has been dealt so far, but that 17 probes just wiped off the face of the map.
Yeah, that's not just the probes, that was all the stalkers as well. There's nothing left here, and GG Akon takes game 2.
So match point. Very nicely done.
Yeah, like there was a surprising amount of damage dealt there by Ice with that Oracle, but as we saw, he wasn't really ready defensively. He did see the army coming with his Oracle, if you remember, but yo, where were those shield batteries?
That's pretty good question. I mean, I guess when you're up against tanks, then you have a decision to make. Do I get shield batteries down, which may potentially get taken out as I pop that overcharge, or do I want to get more Phoenixes out, right? Or more ground units that can more effectively deal with the tanks. There are advantages and disadvantages. With a shield battery, of course, you can buy yourself a lot of time. But yeah,
definitely. Oh boy.
It was what it was in the end, and Akon, he only needs uno más, un momento por favor.
Exactly. That's all he needs. Meanwhile, shout out good evening even to Melty in the chat. Or, sorry, not Melty. Not Melty in the chat. Oh, God. Yeah, it's great to see you here, man. Great to see you. Great to see you. And yes, we are now with cams.
That we are. We are now VTubers.
We haven't gone that far yet. Not yet.
No, we're not full. I feel like there's an evolution, right? First we have to do the cosplay, then the VTuber.
Shaking my head.
Yes, I'm saying Probe is going to become a VTuber at some point. Regardless, we are now on... Oh, my lord, I cannot believe this made it through the vetoes. And on the 3rd map, no less. We are now here on Beckett Industries, LE. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, swinging all the way to the top right-hand corner. The red Protoss player coming out from the land of Sydney. That's in the north of Tasmania. Well, it's not on Tasmania, but it's north of Tasmania. Representing all inspiration, he is Ice.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Beckett Industries LE, we have the Australian Terran. He's green, representing his old team 1F Pro. It is Aconsises.
And it's so weird because in my mind, Aconsises is basically he's Akon. He's like an up-and-comer, right? I had never heard of him until last season of ANZ Champs, but considering he's a 1F Pro, he's got to have been playing for quite some time.
Yeah, I remember in the last season of ANZ Champs, we looked him up, and apparently he has been, like, I guess, an amateur player for a long time. You know, he was on the team, he was competing in events, but he never really, from my knowledge, he never really broke out into the pro scene. Like, he was never able to make a name for himself and break into, like, these events and take down big names. But, you know,
Well, he's
maybe...
starting to now.
Yeah, maybe, like, that could be changing here for him.
Yeah, always nice to see. Letting that persistence pay off.
Exactly. Also, along the lines of VTubers, like, we're in a world where, like, VTubers are actually, like, incredibly popular and they're becoming more frequent. Are we gonna end up in a scenario, maybe not with StarCraft, but a scenario where there's, like, a VTuber caster? Like, how would that work if they get invited to cover an offline event? That's what I was
gonna say. We already have some popular VTuber streamers in StarCraft.
We do.
Out to Bang and Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's not Boom. It's Boom. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I imagine they just bring in a screen for them? Question mark. I don't know.
Yeah, like, would they just bring in a green screen for them, or would they just be a part of the stream and not a part of the physical broadcast? Or,
yeah,
yeah,
that would be pretty neat. I mean, I guess it also depends on the VTuber themselves. They're like, no,
True.
I think, you know, for this I'll go there physically, but you know, it's part of the branding, right?
Yeah,
to be there in VTuber form. So
would they be like a hologram? Could they do that? Could they?
They could. I mean, they do that. They do that for like music already, like with Gorillas and Hatsune Miku.
Yeah. There you go. Like, that's the future. Let's be real here of of like esports and covering events and stuff. Like VTuber casters or hosts. Like, it's coming.
I will never forget when a VTuber got pro skateboarder Tony Hawk to give her a shout out.
Oh my god. Speaking of shout out,
Reaper Hellion coming in,
yeah. Yo, the Reaper Hellion is already getting a lot of damage done. There's only one Stalker here to help defend
the wall. Is on a wall.
It's on a wall.
The probes cannot get the pylon down. The Reapers and the Hellions are still alive, and they are still wreaking havoc here. It only takes 2 volleys from the Hellions to take out the probes, and the Reapers are definitely in position to clean them out. Bit more of an aggressive opening from Acon, but this is not a build that's meant to immediately kill your opponent. He's doing it anyway. 17 probes going down.
It's like, this is not meant to kill his opponent, but he's killing his opponent right now because, oh my god, as you said, an entire middle line has gone down. Finally, this will be pushed away. Unfortunately, these Stalkers, they were in the middle of the map. He was in the middle of moving out. He wanted to be aggressive, and his defenses at home were just not there, and the Reapers are still alive, by the way.
And they're still getting kills. Again, with 2 Reapers, it's what, 3 volleys to kill a full health probe, and most of these probes aren't even at full health. I thought for a second Ice was pulling the Stalkers across the map, but yeah, then he realized I can't do much with 3 Stalkers. I might as well defend and try to make use of Chrono Boost and just try my best to macro out of this position. But behind all of this, Acon raving us out. Stim is okay, not quite on the way yet, but it's coming real soon.
Exactly. Like, even though Acon is a little bit supply blocked, like, he shouldn't be for much longer, and he hasn't stopped macroing, right? He has his tanks, he has his Marines. What are 3 Stalkers really gonna do here?
Eat a tank shot to the face.
And just waddle on back home. Acon with an insane start to this game. And I'm honestly surprised because you mentioned it in the intro and we didn't really get to talk much about it, but we're on Beckett Industries. I thought Ice was coming in here with a plan. You know, I was like, yo, Beckett Industries, are we going to see some hyper aggression? Are we even going to see a natural base? Are we going to see a proxy? But he opened up relatively standard and... Oh,
yeah,
boy.
You were kind of hyping up Ice as being a player who is not afraid to cheese when his back is against the wall on the ace match like this. He has a lot of builds and a lot of proxy locations that most players would just never even consider. But yeah, on Beckett Industries, the map to go for a rush or something like that, he did open up with a double gateway, but I mean, on the level of aggression, double gateway ranks pretty low. And the level of aggressive builds and cheesy builds, it's like,
yeah. Yeah. And now we can see Ice paying the price for that. He is catching up when it comes to the workers, but he has to waste so many resources to catch back up in that worker count. His tech is late, it's delayed. He's working on charge and getting his gateway count back up and running. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to try and again, from here we just go into a big 2-base all-in. Again, he's stopped mining gas in his main. He doesn't have his gases at his natural. He intends to only mine minerals and only make zealots.
yo, and charges though, if you underestimate them for a second as a Terran player, you will pay the price. Acon, he is going a bit more tank heavy. Yeah, okay, starting to build some mines now, and he is going about even with his Marauder and Marine production. So, you know, if he gets caught in the middle of the map, a bunch of chargelets swarm from all corners, and there may be an opening for Ice, but he's already moving out, Acon is, and
yeah,
army disparity to say the least.
What I will say is that Ice does spot this, and there is a world where maybe Ice is able to catch his army unsieged. That's like the best case scenario for Ice, but again, that's a big if, because Ice, he still needs a little bit more time. He's working on his chargelets, they're on the way, charge is done, and maybe he can catch this, maybe? Oh god.
Yeah, he built a lot of gateways earlier on to prepare, but he needs a little bit more time to get those cycles in, to get a bank where he can start really warping in those zealots, and Acon ain't looking to give him that time.
Exactly, he sieges up the Widowmines, they borrow, the zealots are coming in, not just from the front, but also from the bank. Ice trying to go for a bit of a sandwich, but it doesn't all come in at once.
The friendly fire!
Oh?
Yeah, the friendly fire actually really hurting Acon, but not by too much. He still has a massive army.
Yeah, and it looks like just barely. Oh my god, the tank survives with 1 HP! Just barely. It looks like finally it will be picked off, but it served its purpose. There's no more army left for Ice.
That there is not, and on Beckett Industries, Acon is not going to have a tough time reinforcing it all. GG is called. Aconsises will be your final player qualifying for ANZ Champs. ANZ Champs Season 2. And it is a little bit of a shame that Ice wasn't quite able to make it all the way. Again, a lot of hype here after his series gets frustration, but it would have been a shame if we missed out on Acon, especially after seeing that series he had against Vivid. I'm fully on the Acon train.
Definitely.
I want to see him improve and get better and just really show off.
I do as well, and he's going to have the opportunity to do so once again for his 2nd season in a row. Congratulations, Aconsises. It was a hard-fought battle. You know, he had to go all the way to lower brackets in qualifier number 2, but he does make it through 2 seasons in a row. He will be in ANZ Champs Season 2.
That he will. Going to be a lot more eyes on him this time as well. Still a little bit of an underdog going into Season 2, but... he's got the stuff. I definitely think so.
He does. He definitely does. And he's proved that here by qualifying. And with that, he may be the last one. Frustrations.
Frustration has qualified over Purple Dino 3-0. Or maybe 3-1, but I believe it was 3-0 based on the timing.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So we have all of our confirmed players. And also, before we wrap things up and go through all of our confirmed players, Yaku, I just got confirmation. Okay, I was like, mate, how do we pronounce your name? He says, okay, pronounce concise. And add an A in front of it.
Concise!
Ah!
That's a solved mystery that we are going to immediately forget the next time we cast him.
we will. So it's not Aconsises, it's not Aconsises, it's Aconcise. Or
Aconsises.
Wait, now is it a concise or is it a concise?
Right, because he just said add an A, so it could be a concise or a concise.
Yeah.
A concise.
A concise?
A concise.
Oh my god. Regardless, Yeah, congratulations, and now we have all of our players confirmed for the final for ANZ Champs.
Can be kicking off next week, I believe, or 2 weeks from now. Either or. I do know that they have less of a packed schedule this season.
Yes, they had
trying to make it less packed. Yeah.
Yes. Last the ideal schedule for ANZ Champs was for it to be weekly events, like every single Friday or Sunday. But in season 1, things were kind of rushed and congested as a result. And for many weeks, we were live both Saturday and Sunday. But ideally, we're meant to relieve that pressure a little bit, and we should be on a weekly schedule. The schedule hasn't been confirmed yet, but as soon as that does happen, keep an eye on social media. Keep an eye on ESL Australia on Twitter, and I'm sure they'll announce it once it is confirmed.
Are we getting another 80s trailer? That's what I want to know. Another Home and Away reboot.
That's a good question, because currently Sydney is under lockdown. So being able to actually go and film something like that, I think, is impossible at the moment.
What if you use VTubers?
Shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head. Yo, VTubers are expensive. They're expensive, mate.
They are, to get like a custom rig.
Yeah, to get like a customly made 3D model that actually has emotion and stuff.
Well, you can get the $20 pack on Steam, but that's not a good. I mean, it's fun to mess around with, I guess, but it is not good for branding at all.
Shaking my head. Oh my god. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Again, congratulations to our qualified players. Yaku, why don't you just give us a bit of a rundown of who is going to be a part of ANZ Champs Season 2?
Yes, I imagine Fluke will be hosting again.
Players, I meant. Players.
Right, well, alright. Here we have it then. Of course, we have our 4 invitees. Those are the top 4 players from the last season. They are, of course, Seether, Probe, Pez, Mighty Kiwi, in that order. So those are the first 4. The next 6 from qualifier number 1 just a week ago. We have our very own Starduck. We have the Craig himself, Azure, the prince that was promised. We have La Chancho Hermano, Piglet. We have La Probe Rumeto, Runamok. We have the number 1 fighter of Sharks in Chase. And of course, we have our boy, our fellow caster here in Peppy. That was from qualifier number 1. Qualifier number 2, today's qualifiers. The one that we are just wrapping up here. We, of course, have the piano man himself, Vivid. We have our very own CranKy Duckling, makes his opponents go, uh-oh, Oreo. We have the Captain Kiwi himself. Wait, no, I think Mighty Kiwi is that. Never mind. We have the ZVZ Sniper. He is blood red crimson. We have our concise Terran player, Aconcise. We have the, and I can use Fresh Face Frustration. That's alliteration. And of course, we also have our very, very, very happy player from Down Under.
There you go. I was worried that you had forgotten about him because that was a kind of weird order that you went with, but you got him. You got him.
It was the order of who I remembered first.
Aye. But yes, those are all of our players that will be competing in ANZ Champs Season 2. Again, a bunch of returning players from Season 1, but a couple of fresh faces. And when I say a couple, I literally mean one in frustration.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So we'll see how that's going to shake things up in the scene. Going to be a very interesting season.
Regardless, plenty of fresh faces in the qualifiers itself. Maybe in Season 3 or Season 1 of next year.
Maybe. I would hope so. Oh, God. Again, looking at you, Rise. I'm looking at you.
Look at you, Rise's boss. You're killing esports here, man.
Oh, my God. Just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But with that, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you so much, Pig, for the raid as well. For those of you who come in from Pig's channel, we are the CranKy Ducklings. We cast StarCraft throughout the entire week, with Oceanic events, Southeast Asian events, Latin American, North American, and even amateur. I know that there were a couple of people asking like, hey, are there any other events for us to compete in other than these qualifiers and weeklies? And we do run events for Diamond players. We run an event called Duckling Open. We've been running it ever since 2017.
Yeah, it was the first thing we ever did, even before we started casting other events a lot more.
Exactly. It's how we started off as the CranKy Ducklings. It was our very first event. So Duckling Open is a tournament for bronze up to diamond. We also run another kind of graduate event called Master Swan Open. As you can imagine, that's a tournament for Masters players, specifically up to 4.9k MMR. So every single Friday, we host one of those two events. We alternate between the two. And as a bit of a fun fact, this is something that we bring up every now and then, but as a bit of a fun fact, pro players like Oreo and Starduck, they originated from those amateur events years ago. You know, back in the day, we casted Oreo and Starduck back when they were Diamond, and we saw them slowly rise through the ranks and improve as players. And like that's kind of the goal of why we run those amateur events. We want to be able to like kind of nurture and have these players flourish.
Never underestimate amateur events. A lot of people are like, you know, it's really, honestly, a really good way of getting new blood into the scene. You know, you might have a lot of players who did, in their first 100 games laddering, didn't immediately get into GM, but did really enjoy that, get a competitive spirit, and continue to fuel that competition through amateur events and improve as well.
Yeah, like
never underestimate them.
It's basically us like setting a goal for people, and there's some people who strive towards that, like, you know, hey, let's become an SDO champion, and to get to that level you have to hit like the higher echelons of Diamond, and then once you achieve that, okay, next up, let's be a Master Swan Open champion, right? And to get that, you have to get into Masters and get quite high in Masters as well. And once you reach that level, it's like, okay, I want to keep going. I love this competitive. Yeah, I'm actually good. Like, let's go to the next step. Let's go to these regional events.
Because none of them came into any amateur event and being like, you know, eventually I'm going to go pro. No, it was just like, oh, I'm actually getting pretty good at this. Huh.
Yeah, it's something that kind of came naturally as they were progressing. Famously, Starduck, like he just played arcade back in the day. Like he had no interest in becoming a pro player.
He had a long hiatus because he was like, I like Dota a bit more now.
Yeah.
But then he jumped back into StarCraft, switched to Protoss. I was like, I'm actually getting pretty good at this game.
Yeah. Starduck, he's a many-time MSO champion before he hit GM. So yeah, we do have a couple of those like Cinderella stories where there were some players who were able to make it all the way up to GM and hit that pro level. They're few and far between. It's not like that's gonna happen to everyone, but it does happen, and it's great to see whenever that does happen.
It really does.
But
of our boys, Light. So proud of our boys.
I'm so proud as well. There's a reason why when we formed the CranKy Ducklings, Oreo and Starduck were two of the first names that popped into our mind. Like, these are the guys that we have to pick up. Like, we've been there the entire time. Like, they deserve to be supported, and we want to be the ones to do that. So yeah, we wish them the best of luck in the upcoming season of ANZ Champs, as we are going to have some CranKy Duckling representatives in the event itself competing. So I do wish them the best of luck, because I do expect them both to accomplish a lot more than they did in Season 1. Starduck already doing that, right? For those of you who watch DreamHack, Starduck, after Season 1, after kind of a lackluster performance in Season 1 of ANZ Champs, right, he made it to the top 6 of DreamHack.
Yeah. And he beat his longtime nemesis, Mio Micah, to get there.
Very impressive play by Starduck. We're very proud of him. And that's also why we do kind of let him play arcade games at the moment, because it's like, I guess you deserve it.
A lot.
Yeah, like he's got the results to back it up, right?
He
it's
does. We're like, we're like the parents who are like, why don't you ever study? Why you always play that game?
And he's like, well, I'm getting aces in class. What do you want from me? And it's like,
And we're like, but this time, you brought back a B+.
So yeah. With that, the qualifiers have now finally ended. We have our confirmed players, and yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the broadcast. Hope everyone had a good time. Again, shout out to Pig for giving us a raid.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chanchito. Thank you.
Did you ever call him that? When you cast it together?
I have not. I should start. We haven't casted much together. We've got like a couple of days.
True.
But with that, Yaku, why don't you tell the people who are you and whether you're going to be streaming this week?
I am going to try. I don't want to make too many promises, but looks like I am going to be a little bit busy this week. But if I do ever stream, that's going to be at twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1, twitter.com @Empora-Yakuzaku is where I announce that. ! Discord in the chat as well. There will be a bot that will also announce that, so you can stay tuned over there in the CranKy Ducklings Discord server. I'm there, Light is there, plenty of our other CranKy Ducklings and CranKy affiliates are also going to be around there, so yeah, it's a good time. I don't know, where can we find you, Light?
First, !Funada Starduck in the chat. But you can follow me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream throughout the week. I've been streaming some StarCraft Ladder, been streaming some Final Fantasy, and been going back and playing a little Yu-Gi-Oh as well. If you're interested in that, I've also been uploading a little bit more consistently to my YouTube channel. Again, that's just if you're interested in that sort of thing. Otherwise, if you just want more StarCraft casting, then follow us here on the CranKy Ducklings, right? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. We're all over the place, and we are live throughout the week with plenty of different StarCraft events, plenty of regional oceanic events, if that's your thing, Korean events and ESL Open Cup Asia, American, North American, and Latin American. Speaking of, our next broadcast will be tomorrow. I should check that, but it's tomorrow in less than 24 hours. Yes, we will be live with Batalla de las Americas, Battle of the Americas. That is a weekly tournament which includes Latin American and North American players. So players like Cham, Nina, Pili Pili, Vindicta. These players are going to be duking it out against each other. Special every now and then if he wakes up in time. But yes, the best of Latin America.
If not, then it'll probably be in ESL Open Cup Asia, which we should also be covering. And I gotta say, the schedule with Bota and ESL Asia recently, in very recent weeks, has been very interesting because Cham has been playing in a lot of both events in Bota as Battle of the Americas as well, and a couple of times he made it to the finals, so he was like, let's make this a best of 3 instead of best of 5 because I also want to sign up for ESL Asia and play in ESL Asia.
I appreciate that because he does that without influence from us. Because we don't want to be selfish like that, but it does mean that because he wants to be a part of ESL Asia, we also want to cast that, so it kind of works out.
We want him to be part of ESL Asia. I mean, he is in Asia right now, so might as well.
He is. Oh god, and maybe tomorrow we'll finally be able to cast Classic. Hero. We'll finally be able to cast Hero.
Well, Hero and Classic. Well, to be fair, Classic hasn't signed up as regularly as Hero.
We missed him last week, right?
Classic. We did miss Classic last week.
Yeah.
Barely. We were like, oh, we're gonna cast Classic in the finals, and then Haas edged out the ace match.
I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that Haas beat Classic. The old Taiwanese finals, right? Oh, it almost became the old Taiwanese finals.
Creator edged out the ace match against Nice, and then won this for CSL Asia. It was nice to see.
It was very nice.
That week, though.
There's always a lot of Protoss, man.
I'm still recovering. Yeah, but this time we literally had 3 best of 5s in a row that were Protoss.
Yep. Oh boy. So with that, thank you everyone for watching. If you want to support the channel, we at least ask of you to follow the channel. If you want to go one step further, you can also subscribe. You can use your Twitch Primes or subscribe regularly with Twitch. We also have a Patreon up and running as well. If you want to support us that way, we have a bunch of different tiers, and we also supply replay packs from the events that we cover. So yeah, all that money goes back towards the events that we organize, as well as paying the players that we employ, players like Starduck in the chat.
So if you want us to get a new player in, Chappie, Get that Patreon up and running. Get them subscribes. Get them subscriptions in.
I'm shaking my head, mate. Well, with that, thank you everyone for watching. We will see you tomorrow for Battle of the Americas.
Bota.
Ciao.
Bella.